Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you. Chapter 1. Strategy is the foundation of success. Machiavelli was a man who knew precisely that to conquer, one must first think through how to act. In his work, The Art of War, he revealed to us an important principle. Victory begins not with actions, but with the awareness of what and how we must do. When it comes to career, personal goals, or life in general, it is important to understand that chance does not lead to success. Those who can plan one step ahead win. And often, the one who prepares in silence triumphs over the one who rushes forward in noise. But what does this look like in real life? Imagine you decide to start a new project. Many of us are used to rushing into the fray without considering how we could prepare, understand all the risks, and identify potential weaknesses. Machiavelli taught that success comes not simply from what you do, but from how you do it. The idea was to always leave room for maneuver, to be able to adjust course at any moment. It's about discipline, clarity, and a sense of timing. Here is a real-life example. Suppose you want to change jobs. Instead of immediately jumping into the search, it's worth first understanding where your strengths lie and where your weaknesses are. Analyze the market, potential companies that might offer you better conditions. Plan the steps that will lead you to your goal, and don't forget to leave room for adaptation. Who do you need to talk to? What skills do you need to sharpen? These questions matter. Without clarity, even the most motivated person can burn out quickly. A crucial aspect of Machiavelli's strategy lies in always being prepared for changing circumstances. To do this, you need to understand how events are developing and what might change the situation. He explained that success can only be achieved if you know how to act in different conditions. This is not only about career but also about life, both in relationships and at work. There is always room for planning. Life is fluid, unpredictable, but that doesn't mean you must be unprepared. When you start something new, it's important to remember, no matter how great your ambitions or dreams, everything begins with the right plan. Apply this knowledge in life. Think about what you need to do to make your goals a reality, and what steps will lead to success. Even small, consistent steps, taken with awareness, can carry you farther than big, impulsive leaps. Machiavelli taught that victory is not accidental. It is always the result of deep planning. Be the strategist of your own life. Make your mind your strongest weapon. Chapter 2. Knowing yourself and your weaknesses. Machiavelli said that knowing your weaknesses is not just a matter of personal honesty, but also a key to victory. In his work, The Art of War, he asserted that he who does not know his weaknesses cannot successfully manage either himself or others. This statement may seem simple, but it holds a powerful and often overlooked idea. Understanding your vulnerable points is the first and most important condition for moving forward effectively, whether in strategy, leadership, or daily life. So how does this translate into real life? Machiavelli's insights are deeply relevant, not only in matters of state or war, but in everyday decisions, careers, personal development, and relationships. For example, if you want to be more successful at work, it's not enough to know your strengths. You must also be willing to confront your limitations. This kind of honesty is not a weakness. It's courage. The strength to be frank with yourself. The ability to say, "This is where I fall short, and this is what I can do about it," is the first step toward genuine progress. Knowing your own weaknesses gives you a critical advantage. It allows you to take control. Instead of being blindsided by your shortcomings, you can work to improve them. You can compensate, delegate, train, or build safeguards. When the moment of action comes, you're not caught off guard. You're ready. In professional life, this kind of self-awareness helps you choose smarter strategies. For instance, if you recognize that you lack a particular skill, that realization opens a doorway. You can seek out training, mentorship, or experience. Instead of fumbling in the dark, you're using the light of truth to guide your path. Machiavelli believed there is great strength in self-knowledge, and the more deeply you understand your own nature, the less likely you are to make impulsive, damaging choices. You become deliberate, focused, resilient. But here's the nuance. Machiavelli also warned that it's not enough to know your weaknesses. You must also learn to manage how others perceive them. Strategy, after all, is not just internal but also external. On the battlefield, in business, or in love, it's dangerous to reveal your vulnerabilities too openly. Others may exploit them. The wise strategist works on his weaknesses quietly but leads with his strengths. He is aware but not exposed, prepared but not predictable. This subtle balance is what separates the strong from the reckless. Understanding your weak spots in relationships is just as essential. When you recognize patterns, perhaps you're quick to anger, overly passive, or afraid of conflict, you give yourself the power to shift. You grow not just for your own sake, but for those around you. Relationships thrive when self-awareness becomes a shared value. So, what should you do with this knowledge? Machiavelli would say, use your weaknesses as fuel. Don't deny them. Don't bury them. Transform them into stepping stones. Every weakness you name becomes a challenge you can rise above. And with each one you face, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable of achieving what once seemed unreachable. Chapter 3. Choosing the right moment to act. Have you ever felt that life presents a moment when you need to make a choice, but you don't know how to proceed? Machiavelli understood this feeling perfectly. He taught that the right moment to act is not just a lucky coincidence, it's part of a strategy. Knowing when to act and when to wait is a crucial element of success. It's an art that unfolds through patience and the awareness that not every moment is ripe for a decision. Machiavelli asserted that he who knows when to act will always be one step ahead, and this idea is absolutely applicable to you. In your life, there are also times when a decision needs to be made quickly, but there are also times when it's best to wait, to bide your time until circumstances work in your favor. In business, in career, in relationships, the moment when you need to decide is always important. You may have encountered situations where you wanted to rush because you felt that time was running out, but Machiavelli taught that, sometimes, haste is the greatest enemy of strategy. If you don't wait, don't assess the situation, don't understand when it will be fully ready, you risk losing opportunities. Take, for example, career situations. Imagine you are at a crossroads. You are offered a new job, but you are unsure about your decision. Machiavelli would say that you shouldn't immediately seize the chance, even if it seems attractive. First, you need to analyze how this job fits into your long-term goals. Perhaps it's worth waiting to see how the situation unfolds. Time can play to your advantage, and you can make a more informed decision. You may have noticed that even in personal relationships, sometimes it's best to be attentive, not to act immediately. Sometimes emotional reactions tell us that we need to express our point of view right away. But Machiavelli would advise, don't rush, wait. Time will help you understand the best course of action. In such cases, silence or a pause can become a crucial element of your strategy. This doesn't mean avoiding conversations, but it's important not to act under the pressure of emotions, but to give yourself time to reflect. In a broader context, Machiavelli advises being attentive to how external circumstances change, how the situation develops. The right moment to act may not be when everyone around is bustling and shouting that a decision needs to be made quickly. On the contrary, true strategy is the ability to be calm, observe, and act when everything falls into place correctly. Now imagine that you are not in a hurry, but allow situations to develop naturally. You analyze, wait for the right time, and then make a decision. This approach frees you from unnecessary anxiety and helps you stay collected and confident. This is why the moment of choice is not just a matter of luck. It's the result of your willingness to be attentive, patient, and strategic. Machiavelli taught that patience is often more effective than haste. This helps not only in business or at work, but also in personal relationships and all areas of life. Chapter 4. The Importance of Team and Allies. In The Art of War, Machiavelli emphasizes that it is impossible to win alone, even if you have the best strategy. He is convinced that success in any struggle depends not only on personal strength or knowledge, but also on the ability to form strong alliances and a cohesive team. Even the most talented and experienced person faces the limits of their capabilities if they work in isolation. Machiavelli asserted that to succeed, it is necessary to surround yourself with people who will support you and help in achieving your goals. In his eyes, a strong army is not just a collection of outstanding soldiers, but also the ability to unite people with different skills, values, and approaches. Only through cooperation, coordination of efforts, and a common goal can maximum strength be achieved. Now, let's move to our world. In life, just as in business or career, it is impossible to achieve success if you try to do everything yourself. Each of us faces moments when we simply lack time, knowledge, or resources. And at this moment, it is very important to have people you can rely on. You need to create such a team around you, whether it's colleagues, partners, or friends, who can support you at the right moment and help you overcome difficulties. Machiavelli doesn't just talk about the importance of a team, he focuses on the quality of these allies. He advises carefully choosing those with whom you will work, considering their abilities, loyalty, and readiness to act in a critical situation. This is one of his strategies. Do not seek people who only talk about how to help you. Seek those who actually act. This is also relevant in real life. The support of people who share your goals and are ready to work towards results allows you not only to successfully solve current tasks, but also to overcome any unforeseen complexities. Applying this principle in life means that you must understand. Success does not come alone. You cannot be an expert in everything, and that's normal. When you build strong relationships, whether in business, personal life, or at work, you create a foundation for stability and success. If you tune yourself to work with people who not only share your goal but can also bring new ideas, solutions, and approaches to the work, your life and career will begin to develop in a more predictable and effective direction. Think about which areas of your life you can build such teams in. Who in your environment can be a valuable ally? Who will help you not only achieve goals, but also survive possible difficulties? A strong team gives you not only confidence in the future, but also real support in times of crisis. Machiavelli knew that if you want to become a leader, you must learn how to build relationships with those around you correctly, and learn to trust those who will be with you on the path. So, don't be afraid to delegate tasks and ask for help when necessary. By building your team, you are building the future. And only in this way can you achieve true success. Chapter 5. Adapting to circumstances. The world you live in is constantly changing. Sometimes these are barely noticeable shifts. New technologies, changes in social moods, rising prices. And sometimes changes come like a storm. Dismissal, a crisis in relationships, illnesses, losses. Machiavelli was one of those thinkers who not only recognized the chaotic nature of the world, but also taught, do not resist the flow, learn to swim with it. In The Art of War, he says, the one who is flexible wins, not the one who is cruel. He gives a metaphor. An oak may seem strong, but under the onslaught of a hurricane, it breaks. But a reed, which seemed weak, bends and remains whole. Here's a lesson for you. Life breaks those who cannot adapt. This is especially relevant now. You can make plans for months ahead, detailing every aspect, but suddenly everything changes. And at this moment, the key question is not how good your plan was. The question is how quickly you are ready to rewrite it. Machiavelli said, strategy without flexibility is not strategy, but complacency. He taught that you need not just to act, but to sensitively track what is happening around you and be ready to change course. And there is no weakness in this. On the contrary, the ability to adapt is a sign of inner strength. Think about the last time you felt like you were losing ground, that life suddenly went off script. Perhaps you were angry, panicked, felt insecure. This is natural. But it is at such moments that the real game begins. If you can stop, exhale, and ask yourself, what can I change in this situation? You are already one step closer to victory. Flexibility is not just the ability to adapt. It is the ability to see opportunities where others see only the end. It is the ability to stay focused but change direction. Like a warrior who understands on the battlefield that the direct path to the enemy is blocked, but there is a detour, and he chooses it without complaints, without bravado. He simply takes a step forward, already in a new direction. In real life, this means the labor market is changing. Learn something new. Relationships are falling apart. Don't cling to illusions. Build something honest. Plans are disrupted. Adapt them. Rethink them. The world is not obliged to adapt to your expectations, but you can learn to adapt to the world. You have not lost if you have deviated from the original path. You have lost if you have refused to look for a new one. Machiavelli believed that a true strategist is not one who always follows the plan, but one who knows how to deviate from it in time. And remember, every time you flexibly respond to changes, you are not betraying your goals. You are simply finding a new way to them. And this may even be a better path than the one you were swept away from. Chapter 6. Risks and Preparing for Crises. When everything is going according to plan, it's easy to believe in your own invulnerability. You feel control, predictability, and confidence. The days move smoothly, and nothing seems threatening. But it is precisely at this moment, as Machiavelli warned, that you are most vulnerable. Why? Because comfort dulls awareness, because you stop scanning the horizon. And life, it's not a straight road. It bends, it shifts, it throws storms at you when you least expect them. If you truly want to succeed, you must learn to think like a strategist, not only to dream of victories but also to quietly prepare for defeats. Success is not about the absence of setbacks. It's about the readiness to face them. In The Art of War, Machiavelli insisted that no ruler, no commander, no wise person can afford to ignore danger, especially when it is hidden. He wrote that a successful leader prepares for the storm while the sun is still shining, not out of fear, not out of paranoia, but because he understands that calm weather is never permanent. Being prepared is not pessimism. It is realism grounded in responsibility. Look around. Everything is in motion. Technology evolves, economies shift, politics erupt, and people change, including you. Every one of these forces can become the source of a crisis at any moment. You cannot control them all, but you can control your response. You can train your mind not to collapse under pressure, but to adapt, to adjust, to endure. What does this mean in practical terms? It means you must have a plan B, and ideally, plan C and D as well. It means you should never spend every last cent, never bet all your hopes on a single outcome. Leave room for maneuver. Build reserves, not just financial, but emotional, intellectual, and relational. Learn constantly, not just reactively, but proactively. Stay curious, because the moment you think you know enough is the moment you become vulnerable. Machiavelli understood something profound. Weakness is not about having vulnerabilities, it's about refusing to see them. True strength lies in the quiet confidence that says, yes, I am not all-powerful, but I am prepared. I face life with open eyes. I think several steps ahead. In your own life, this might mean preparing for job instability, the possibility of a breakup, unexpected medical bills, or a personal crisis. These are not paranoid thoughts. They're responsible considerations. When you think ahead, you don't give fear power over you. You turn it into foresight. You transform anxiety into clarity. And don't believe that preparation shows a lack of trust in life. On the contrary, it's a deep respect for its complexity. It's the mark of someone who doesn't wish for an easy life, but who commits to a conscious one. When the crisis comes, as it inevitably will, you won't crumble. You'll stand tall, not as a victim, but as a commander, ready for battle. Maybe you're living peacefully now. Maybe things are going well, but don't be lulled by comfort. True strength is not in hoping that difficulties won't come. True strength is being prepared when they do. Because peace is not just the absence of conflict, it is the readiness to face it. Chapter 7. The Principle of Win or Learn. You won't always win. That's a simple, perhaps bitter truth. But the sooner you accept it, the stronger you become. Machiavelli wasn't a romantic. He didn't believe in fairy tales or streaks of eternal luck. He dealt with reality, cold, sharp, and unvarnished. And in that reality, losing isn't a stigma. It's not shameful. It's not a dead end. It's simply a necessary part of the road, a signal, a correction, a lesson life gives you when you need to grow. Every failure, if approached wisely, makes you smarter, more resilient, more grounded. Victory is satisfying, but defeat is where your true education begins. Machiavelli saw this as essential to strategic thinking, not just the ability to move forward, but to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. The wise don't run from loss. They mine it for meaning. You made a mistake? Good. That means you were trying. That means you acted. That means you were alive and brave enough to take a risk. But now comes the key question. What will you do with that mistake? Will you bury it under shame, or will you turn it into knowledge? Look honestly at your past. How many times have things gone wrong? How many decisions didn't turn out the way you hoped? Now ask yourself, what did you actually learn from those moments? Did you use them to evolve, or did you just bury the memory and walk away unchanged? Machiavelli would say, if you didn't learn, then you lost twice, once in the situation, and again by not taking the lesson. His principle was clear. After every fall, you must rise, not with empty optimism, but with new weapons in hand. Clarity, insight, strategy. That is the real path to power. Think of the people you admire most, the strong ones, the wise ones. They didn't become that way because life went smoothly for them. They failed. They stumbled. But they never stopped reflecting, adapting, improving. What made them strong was not the absence of pain, but their refusal to waste it. You can do this too. Start with one shift in perspective. Stop fearing failure. Start asking different questions. Not, why did this happen to me? But, what is it trying to teach me? Not, why me? But, what for? This simple change can unlock growth you didn't know was possible. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to keep evolving. You owe that much to yourself. And if you're struggling right now, if you feel like things are falling apart, maybe, just maybe, this is the moment when your real strength is being forged. Your future victories are often built in the ashes of your current losses, but only if you're paying attention. Don't miss the lesson. Don't waste the pain. Let it shape you into something greater than you were before. Chapter 8. The Art of War as a Path to Success. Life is not a field of flowers. It is an arena, and you are not in it by chance. From the very first day, you enter a game where the stakes are your freedom, your choice, your success. Machiavelli understood this. He did not write for those who want to be loved. He wrote for those who want to be effective. Not for those who live by instinct, but for those who build, clearly, according to a plan, strategically. Now look back. You have learned that without self-knowledge, you are blind. Without choosing the right moment, you lose power. Without a team, your actions have no scale. Without flexibility, you will become a victim of change. Without being prepared for defeats, you will not survive a real battle. All these are not separate rules. They are parts of a whole. This is the art of war, and the art of living. You can apply this in any area. Do you want to grow in your career? Then you need a strategy. Do you want to strengthen relationships? Learn to listen and understand when to retreat. Are you building your own project? Assemble a team, foresee risks, build a plan, and don't be afraid of mistakes. Everything Machiavelli teaches is about you, about your specific life, about how to turn chaos into structure, fear into a resource, insecurity into strength. But here's the main thing. All this only works if you act. You can know about strategies. You can understand psychology. You can even be inspired. But if you don't start, everything remains words. Machiavelli was a pragmatist. He would say, "Don't be afraid to start. Be afraid to miss the moment. Because the art of war is not aggression. It is preparation. It is calculation. It is inner clarity. And it always begins with a decision. The decision to take responsibility for your life. The decision to think not just emotionally, but strategically. The decision to say, not everything, but what is necessary. To be silent when it is important. To move when no one expects it. To retreat in order to return stronger. To learn from mistakes. And ultimately, to assemble from your life something whole, harmonious, alive. You are not just an observer in this life. You are a strategist. You are not a puppet of events. You can be their architect. And if you have listened to this moment, it is already a step. It is already a victory over chaos. Now the next step is into reality, into your decisions, into your actions. Everything you have learned is already with you. Use it. Create your reality. Create your future. Don't wait for the right moment. Create it. And act. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support truly helps us grow. We appreciate it so much.